What's up, everybody? How's it going? Sorry, somebody sent me a thumbnail to use, and I forgot to switch it, so I'm going to do that right now, and then we'll get started. Is Norm high on his own supply? Maybe. Maybe. Amy Lynn, what's up? We got about halfway through the trial footage yesterday, so we're going to do the other half today. We have enough time and enough people, well, not even enough people, enough time, before I am just too exhausted. We'll play games afterwards. If not, we'll do that tomorrow. But tonight, we'll at least do part 2 of the footage. I'm feeling a little tired. I worked this weekend both days, so, and then y'all know I had all that travel problem and stuff going on after Monday, so it wasn't exactly relaxing time off of work. So yeah. Um but we'll bounce back. My next day off is Saturday, so gotta make it till then. Before I started making videos and streaming, I never noticed how much I say y'all. Y'all. I'm sorry, Norm's made some interesting comments. Okay. Looks like I got the new thumbnail on, so we're good. Turning on my iPad so I can see the comments because I haven't set up my monitor yet. I have like sheer laziness at this point. Like, so I can set it up by just having it. Grandkids taxi. That's all right. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Happy you're not the Father's Day to Clayton. Yeah. True. Guys, I hit 100 members. I can't remember if I told you that, but thank you for that because that's awesome. My YouTube app is fucking with me right now. Hang on. Oh, maybe I can get it that way, but I guess not. Oh, there we go. Okay, so where we left off yesterday, we got to the break in Laura's cross exam. So the first half, and then where she kind of had her little meltdown kind of thing, and then they were on a break, and we start from there. Hi, Bethany, what's up? You guys will have to tell me if there's a problem with audio or anything like that. We are using Shizzy Wiznut's enhanced audio version of the footage. So I took the footage when I was in the courtroom on Monday, and then he was nice enough to go and make it sound a little bit louder for everybody. So yeah, listen to Salty. All right, let's get into it. Class of '83, hey. Okay, nobody's gonna believe that though, because you have doctor and medical records, so it's even easier for you to lie about what a doctor allegedly said to you. So like nobody's gonna take that like as a fact. Hey, IB, what's up? Oh, dude, you guys can't see the screen. My bad. Hang on, guys. Sorry about that. Get back up to here. You won't miss anything too good. Nothing is playing. Well, you're wrong about that, Amy Lynn. Something is playing. You just can't see it. All right. MC third, can you really not hear? I think you probably can, right? So I was just talking at the screen because I was actually watching this. That's why I was talking at the screen. Uh, but yeah, I'm not like Crazy Town or anything like that. Well, maybe a little bit. Salty, what do you mean you can't hear? You can hear my microphone, right? Yes, it's paused, Robert. I know. It's paused because I had to pause it so you can see it. All right.
I do.
Okay, Miss D, if you heard nothing, you wouldn't know to say that you heard nothing. So you're just trolling me right now.
I was trying to say I do have a record. That's what I was told by Tamara Lister at Banner Health, was that it would be Valentine's Day.
You're aware that the records that you provided from Banner.
That was why I was saying, like, there's no reason to believe her because she faked medical records. So, like, nobody's going to believe you if you just say, like, this doctor told me something. You know what I mean? Because there's not even a fake record for that.
Does not indicate any due date.
It
Right?
was in conversation with her as to when the due date would be.
Yes or no questions. You're aware that the record you provided from Banner lists no such due date, right?
It can't be answered in a yes or no manner.
Yes, it can. It's a yes or no question.
I'm saying I.
Yes, no, or I don't know.
So then can you please repeat the question?
Ms. Owens, you're aware that the record from Banner that you provided, that your attorney just admitted into evidence, does not have an alleged due date of any kind on it, right?
Okay, then yes.
I want you to take a look at what's our Exhibit 17, page 110.
Oh, Miss D, I got you. I got you. It's okay. People troll me
And
all the
this is
time.
the same as your Exhibit A1.
That was
This is
the
a
expert
picture
coming back in,
you
I think.
took of a portion of a page from Banner, correct?
Correct.
Where is the rest of the document, Ms. Owens?
Clayton had it.
I'm asking you, where is the rest of the document in this particular exhibit?
I don't know, but there's nothing I was trying to hide from it. Clayton got the entire thing.
So recognize
I did send it to Clayton. I didn't send it to Clayton. I did send this to Clayton. I didn't send it to Clayton. Pay no attention to my
right?
emails.
Yes.
And you expect the court to accept a picture of a portion of an alleged record?
You guys got the results yourselves. So
These are yes or no questions.
that's
Attorney
not
is going to have
fair.
an opportunity to conduct redirect examination. Elaborate then.
I mean, that's not fair. You guys know that you have the results of this that show the same thing. So I wasn't
It's not
hiding anything
fair.
here.
It's not fair. It's not fair that you caught me making things up outside of this.
That's not fair.
I have to respond to
Ida,
ask
what's up?
for kindness non-responsive.
Purple designator is non-responsive.
For someone who's been involved in court cases nonstop since at least 2016.
You know what? That's not accurate. I have not.
The way she just like gasped there, it's like she was taken aback or something, like as if there's not public record of you being in court several times since then.
been involved nonstop
I'm
since
going to stop the clock
2016.
for a moment, and I'm going to remind the parties. Counsel, you ask a question, ma'am, you answer the question. Otherwise, we move into a different area that I don't think anyone wants to go into.
I mean, I would have liked to see someone go into that, but you know.
Counsel, resume.
Ms. Owens, you have
Thank
been
you, Salty.
involved in court cases since at least 2016, correct?
Nonstop, or are you saying since 2016? Can you just
Answer
rephrase the question?
Answer the question as I've asked it. Been involved in court cases since 2016.
No.
Okay.
Wrong answer, dude.
This particular document, Exhibit A1, has 3 different types of highlighting on it,
That's
correct?
okay. I know you're not that late.
I
Probably.
see 2.
And Isabel, if you can please pull our Exhibit 17, page 110. You'll see this is the same document, but I believe maybe when your office scanned it in, you can't see all the highlighting. So I'm going to show you ours. You see there's
Shanna Lee, why lie on that answer? I mean, at the surface, it doesn't seem like she would really need to, but then you have to remember that other lies are covered up by that lie. So, like, if she told the truth about that, they would be able to get her on like tracing it back to something else.
3 different types of highlighting.
Yes.
And you highlighted this on the same Adobe Acrobat program that you used to alter the other records, correct?
This was the doctor highlighted point of care test results, and then I highlighted first trimester pregnancy and encounter for pregnancy test on my iPhone, but it wasn't Adobe Acrobat.
There's 2 different types of highlighting on this document, correct?
Yes.
And I want to talk to you about the date of this alleged HCG test. We can agree that a woman typically takes the pregnancy test when they miss their menstrual period, right?
Okay. If you guys can't hear her because the sound is still a little bit spotty in some places, she's asking like typically a woman will take a pregnancy test when they miss a period. Is that correct?
Well, my case was different.
So these are yes or no questions.
I think the answer depends. I don't get a period, so I don't know how to answer that.
Okay. So you don't get a regular.
I don't.
So you took this test before the missing a period, right?
Correct.
And between 2014.
I'm wondering, like, you know, on redirect, the attorney can kind of help her elaborate. But like, what if he had to get out there and ask her all these questions about her menstrual cycle? Like, I'm just kind of like, how would that go? That would be really interesting.
In the present, you have alleged that you were pregnant by 4 different men, correct?
Correct.
And all 4 of those men told you
Classification
one way or another that they believed you fabricated those pregnancies, right?
The first was not so specific about that.
Liam
And
K.
3 of them are here today, right?
Correct.
And they also believe that you doctored medical records, right?
Objection foundation.
Sustained.
I'll move on, Your Honor. Ms. Owens, each time that one of these 3 men refused to be in a relationship with you and questioned your pregnancy narrative, you obtained an order of protection against them, right?
False.
Okay, well, you have an order of protection against Mr. Greg Gillespie, correct?
Correct.
And he didn't believe that you were ever pregnant with his child, right?
No, that's wrong.
No,
That's-
that's wrong. No, that's wrong. He did think that because I lied to him. That's better. It's better, guys. Automod, hey, what's up?
He had me, I went to a doctor. He told me I needed to go to the specific doctor to confirm the pregnancy, which I did. Who spoke to
Okay,
him.
stop. I'm striking that response. The court reporter has been very clear. Everyone's talking over each other for appellate purposes. And the fact that one of the parties is paying for the court reporter, implore you please to talk one at a time. With regards to the objection, it's overruled. Go ahead, counsel.
Your Honor, I'll move on in the interest of time. Ms. Owens, you didn't file an affidavit of financial information in this case, did you?
I did.
When did you file that?
August or September. It's with the court.
Okay.
It's on the record.
Well, consistent with your deposition testimony and your April 16th affidavit, you would agree with me that you make approximately $200,000 a year and then have approximately $500,000 in like a money market, right?
Wouldn't it be nice to make that much money if you're as depressed as she claimed to be in that blog? Like, how many of us could get that much money per year if we weren't working, if we were laying in bed, having no purpose, not getting up, not eating. Like, okay. And I know that she says it's proportional to like what her and her mother make together, but like, come on, dude. Come on.
I don't have $500,000 in a money market account.
Okay, but you would agree with me that you make approximately $200,000 a year?
It's with businesses I have with my mom, so it's proportional to us.
Okay.
With our companies, yeah.
Ms. Owens, I want to give you one more opportunity. The media is here. You know that this case has gone viral. You have an opportunity right now to come clean and start fresh.
I remember this part because I started getting like really intensely paying attention. I was like, I don't care what happens on the video of the stream, because I was like dead silent and still just like eyes bugging out of my head. I was like, oh my god, please admit it right now. Please admit it right now. Please. Of course she didn't.
So I'm going to ask you one final time. You were never pregnant by Clayton Echard, correct?
That is absolutely incorrect.
Okay. So Deandra here, has that little pause between the end of her question and correct, but I don't know if Laura knew she was going to say correct. That's kind of important because it's like there's a little bit of a beat there, right? Where it's just silent. But Laura's sticking to her guns, that's for sure. I'm not saying the guns are functional, right? And they're a little used, 3 or 4 times to be exact, but absolutely incorrect. Yeah, right. So, and I said this yesterday when we had some other people watching too. When I got out of that courtroom, I was so busy like focusing on the stream and the videoing and like making sure everything was good that I couldn't really see what was going on, like with her, like what she looked like up on the witness stand or like her body language, stuff like that. So there was a lot I didn't catch just because I was so busy like trying to make sure everyone else could see, you know. And then also the view that you have right now is kind of the view that I had when I was in the courtroom. So you can see Isabel's blonde hair right there, like her head, and then there's the court reporter, and then there's Laura. So I was a little bit lower than what we're seeing right now. So my view of the witness stand was like partially blocked, like a lot of the way blocked because of the weird layout there. But so I kind of caught a lot on the rewatch, and when I got out of court, I was like, she might actually be a little delusional. I was like, I think she believes what she's. I think she believes what she's saying. And then I watched it back and kind of took everything into account, and I was like, nah, she's not insane. She's not insane. To me, there is a difference between being kind of batshit crazy and clinically insane. This woman is not insane. That is still my opinion. So, all right, here we go.
Time, Judge.
Time check, 28 minutes, 46 seconds. Redirect when you're ready.
Your Honor, I've got about 3 questions. First of all, Laura, looking at Exhibit A0, are we on my screen? This is the timeline that we talked about before. Can you just go back over that real quick? And does that accurately reflect the testimony you gave earlier regarding your version of the events?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to admit Exhibit A0 it's a Rule 1006. It's a summary of testimony.
Honor, I would object. I don't believe this is an accurate summary of the testimony today.
Probably not.
That's for the fund.
Over objection, the court will receive what's been marked as A30, giving
Winks, what's
it
up?
the weight that it deserves. It doesn't
Okay.
appear to be demonstratively.
Right. Laura, regarding Banner, there was some comment just a minute ago that you didn't produce records from Banner. To your knowledge, did you authorize Mr. Woodnick or his firm to get records from Banner?
Yes.
And looking at Exhibit A1, it's not just a photo of, the first page is a photo of something, but can you tell us what the second page here is?
That's from my patient portal, showing that I was positive for Banner.
Okay, and to
Positive
your
for
knowledge, did
HCG.
Mr. Woodnick actually receive records from Banner? Did he ask for them?
Yes.
And did he get them?
Yes.
One final thing, you said before on,
It doesn't matter if he got them. The substance matter is still bullshit in regards to like verifying your claims because of the way you've doctored things and dodged tests and all that stuff. So like an HCG test at this point, even if it did come directly from the provider, it doesn't mean anything.
on cross-examination, that when you saw that 102 HCG test from October 16th, that you believe that meant you were not pregnant. you understand the difference between a viable pregnancy and a non-viable one?
Yes,
Do you believe that the 102 number that you got in October 16th of 2023 meant that you were not pregnant at all?
Objection leading.
What was your understanding of that 102 number? What did it mean to you?
but I was still pregnant as it was over 4 was what it said.
Okay.
Jay, how are you doing?
No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, ma'am, you can go sit back down.
So I kind of missed the last part that she was saying, but she did talk about this at one point at least. When they were talking about the 102 HCG test, like, what do you think it meant? And then she's like, it was above 4, so I thought it meant, pregnant or whatever. And for someone who claims to have been pregnant, like, what, 4 times with sets of twins every time, like, HCG of 4 is not, it's not it. So, like, an HCG of 102 at that point is also still very, very low. So if you claim to have been pregnant with twins that many times, you're going to know that something's wrong with that. So
One more time, check, Judge.
Sure. Respondent's at 28 minutes, 46 seconds. Petitioner is at 31 minutes, 14 of the 50. You can call your next witness when you're ready.
Your Honor, petitioner calls Dr. Michael Medschel.
All right.
okay. Dr. Medchill is a character. Yikes. Okay. So this guy, he was just too defensive. And you'll see it. You'll see it. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But he was just too defensive of her. It was like it was personal or something. I was like, what are you doing, man? Like, I guess he's retired, so the reputation doesn't matter that much. But I'm like, dude, you can't honestly be proud of like what you're testifying here to today. You can't really believe that there's no way she was faking it. Like, anyways, Dr. Mitchell, if you need a place to stay, my grandmother lives at a nursing home down the road, and I'm sure they have openings.
Doctor, if you'd like to bring water with you, you may.
Did we spare him already? We did. Good morning, Dr. Mitchell. State your name, please.
Dr. Michael Medschel.
We have about 15 minutes, so I got to go really, really quick here.
Let me see if I can get the quality a little better. Maybe not. Yeah, it's a little blurry. It's a little blurry. It's not the best quality, but we'll just go with it.
I know you're retired now. Can you tell the court what you did before you retired?
I was the chairman of the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at St. Joseph's Hospital. I was in private practice at the same time.
How
I
many
was also on the
babies have you
teaching
delivered?
faculty of the Phoenix Integrated Residency Program in Obstetrics and Gynecology.
Okay, so you have a medical doctorate degree
Yes,
and you practiced medicine in Arizona for about 30 years. Is that right?
that's correct.
And according to the Arizona Medical Board, it says that you were first licensed in Arizona in 1992 and your medical license
Ali,
expired
hey,
on
what's
March 7th, 2022. Is that accurate?
Yes,
It's about 2 years ago. And you retired from medicine in good standing with the medical board?
that's correct.
Your Honor, I tender Dr. Mitchell as an expert in the area of obstetrics and gynecology.
Yeah. All right, so stipulated.
Okay. Dr. Mitchell, in front of you there, we've got your CV, I guess. This is exhibit A12.
I just want to remind you guys that the only thing that matters with these experts is how many babies they've delivered.
And everything in your CV is accurate?
Yes,
Is that up to date and current?
yes,
Okay. And like you said, you served as the chairman of the obstetrics and gynecology department at St. Joseph's Hospital in Phoenix.
yes, for 4 years.
In that capacity, how many children did you personally deliver?
I delivered over 20,000 babies.
And I think when we were talking, you explained that
There it is. Over 20,000 babies. Case closed. He knows everything. An immaculate pregnancy is possible if he says so. Lila Smith, thank you for the 10. Lauren, I think this level of layered lying is incomprehensible to most of us, and I can only imagine it coming from someone insane. Can you explain how this behavior could come from a sane person? Well, let's think about this. So that level of layered lying requires you to like have some competency of what you're doing, right? Because if you're like totally out of it and not in touch with reality, you're not going to be able to tell a bunch of lies that make like her lies seem relatively in touch with reality. Like we're all living in the same reality here. So the stuff she's saying, it's like we see through it now, but there were 3 times before this that a lot of people didn't. So that, and she's now like under threat of possibly being referred to the county attorney's office and to go to jail. So she is literally lying like her freedom depends on it. So yeah, it's definitely a thing that you have to be dialed in for. You got to know, like we said earlier, when she was like not wanting to answer kind of a simpler question that wouldn't have really mattered. The reason she wouldn't answer that simpler question is because it could lead back to another one of her lies when they started questioning more and more. So she knows exactly which buttons she can press and which ones that she needs to steer clear of, where she might say, that's not fair, instead of answering the question or something like that.
The success rate of a pregnancy when a woman becomes pregnant and then delivers a baby, not all of them make it. Is that right?
Almost half of all pregnancies end in a miscarriage.
Okay. And so if you delivered 22 or 20,000 children, how many patients did you see that didn't deliver healthy babies? Was directly to the, I'm sorry?
Sustained.
I think it was intimated that she does take an antipsychotic. So there was some talk of her having an antipsychotic in her background. I think, but I'm not positive. She does not appear to be now on antipsychotics. And her like medications she's taken in the past, she claims that they have been for different medical conditions, because sometimes those medicines are used for like different reasons. Like for example, Seroquel is like often used in psychotic patients, but like my doctor prescribed me Seroquel because I couldn't sleep, and I know lots of people who've been prescribed Seroquel because they can't sleep. Stuff like that. Also, Greg Woodnick brought up the name of an antipsychotic, I believe, in this cross, which you'll see next. And I don't think that he necessarily said she was on it, but it was implied, like a lot of that stuff was implied, that like you don't know because you haven't seen her records from her PCP. You don't know if she was on this stuff or not. So I don't think it was ever outright said that she's on antipsychotics. It is a possibility that she has been on it in the past, but she maintains that any medications like that have been for some other reason.
In addition to women that did not deliver a healthy baby, did you, or I'm sorry, in addition to women who,
Narcissism is not insanity, and it does not qualify as a legal defense, because if she were just a narcissist, she would still know that breaking the law is wrong. She understands what the consequences for doing it are. So somebody can't just say, "Oh, I'm a narcissist," and then like get away with it. You know, like you still have to follow the rules of society. If you understand what you're doing and you know that it's against the law and you know it could end with you going to jail or facing consequences, and you do it anyways, you have to face those consequences. The thing that you could use as a legal defense, which is rarely successful as it is like if you were genuinely psychotic to the point where you could not comprehend like what was going on around you, what you were doing, like you were seeing things, you thought somebody was somebody else, that kind of thing. But that rarely works, because there are very few people who are actually that crazy to where they're clinically insane.
delivered healthy children, did you have patients who had miscarriages?
Thousands.
And so you have extensive training and experience with regard to women that have non-normal pregnancies.
Correct.
All right, Dr. Mitchell, in your report here, which again is Exhibit A12, you summarize, there's a written report and it's going slow. Let me see here. Did you review some records as part of your retention in this case?
Yes.
And your report has an index of exhibits that you looked at. There's a banner pregnancy test, an image of some tissues. They're all attached to your
that makes
report.
sense.
Other than what is listed there, did you review anything else?
Just the ones that I've listed.
Okay.
Just the ones I've listed. MAG in Florida, 10 to 20% of known pregnancies end in miscarriage, but the actual number is likely higher. Many miscarriages happen early on before people realize. Gotcha.
After you performed that initial review, you asked for some medical records. You had a question regarding medications?
Yes.
And did you get those records?
Yes, I did.
Do you recall where they're from?
From Barrow Neurologic Institute.
You're familiar with Barrow?
Very familiar. They're at St. Joseph's Hospital.
That's part of the...
Thank you for the 5 mag, by the way. Oh, did we freeze up? Hold on. What's that? Refresh. We're at one.
With our
Facts, the bare facts that I
Here we go.
as part of your retention in this case?
Yes,
And your report has an index of exhibits that you looked at. There's a Banner pregnancy test, an image of some tissues. They're all attached to your report. Other than what is listed there, did you review anything else?
just the ones that I've listed.
Okay. And after you performed that initial review, you asked for some medical records. You had a question regarding medications.
Yes,
And did you get those records?
yes, I did.
Do you recall where they're from?
From Neurologic Institute,
You're familiar with Barrow.
very familiar. They're at St. Joseph's Hospital.
That's part of the.
Woodnick says clozapine, which is the generic for Clozaril. Yeah, so when they said that, like I told you, I wasn't really paying close attention. I thought they said clonidine. I was like, isn't that for like what is that for like blood pressure or something? Like what? Why is this relevant? Okay, hang on. This thing is crapping out on me right now. Maybe it's the setting I have it at.
Just the ones that I've listed.
Okay. And after you performed that initial review, you asked for some medical records. You had a question regarding medications.
Yes,
And did you get those records?
yes, I did.
Do you recall where they're from?
From Neurologic Institute,
You're familiar with Barrow.
very familiar. They're at St. Joseph's Hospital.
That's part of the.
Damn, what's going on with this? I thought that was for anxiety as well. You might be thinking of
Over 99% probably.
you might be thinking of Klonopin, Indigo. I'm not sure. There's a lot that sounds kind of like that with the claw sound. Cat Lady Ballerina, I'm not sure. Guys, so I'm seeing the comments here, and we're not going to argue about QR codes or anything like that here. This is just not the purpose of my stream. You guys are welcome to talk to each other about that behind the scenes. We're not going to do that here, okay? If I have to mute people, I will. I don't want to, but do not start a little fight about that here, please. Not saying anyone particular did anything wrong. I'm just saying don't, because that's just not something I'm going to want to deal with here. Krishna, hey, what's up?
Ability.
Okay. And can you explain what facts support that conclusion? The facts that you considered anyway.
I am kind of the Sergeant Friday of Dragnet. I only take in the facts, the bare facts that are known to be provable. Number one, there was intimacy of some type, disputed what exactly it was. Number two, she had a positive pregnancy test at a lab.
She had a positive HCG test. Doctor, why don't you say that correctly?
At Banner, which means that there's a 99% chance that that's a positive pregnancy. Number three, she
Yeah, I
had
know what you
a
mean.
negative test or little or no fetal DNA found on a test in late September, looking for fetal DNA in the blood. What that tells me
Indigo,
is
this is our
that
medical expert.
by that point, at the end of September, the pregnancy had failed, that even though she still had a positive pregnancy test, it was no longer a viable pregnancy. The fourth thing is
He knows a lot. Like, he has a remarkable amount of facts given the limited scope of information he was given to work with. I think it's a little sus. I don't think any doctor would have gotten up on that stand, like any other doctor would have gotten up on that stand and like embarrassed themselves like that. Like, that's yikes.
that she still had a positive pregnancy test in the blood
Jenner, I
of
wanna know too.
102 on October 16th,
Greg
which
Angel, what's up?
again, greater than 99% positive that she was pregnant. And the fact that between June 1st and October 16th, she's got 2 laboratory proven pregnancy tests. That indicates that all of the
Here we go again. This guy is a retired doctor. He's saying 2 laboratory proven pregnancy tests. This man knows. This man knows they were HCG tests. Okay, and there's been concerns for her altering HCG tests. So dude, like, I can't believe he actually got up and did that. That was brutal to watch, but you'll see on Cross.
Urine pregnancy tests, any other pregnancy tests that she had done likely are
Yeah, I
also
agree.
demonstrably positive. And the final thing is
Awesome,
when
83,
she
that's right.
had bleeding in November, and then a couple of days later had a negative pregnancy test at the mom doc. It also illustrates, one, that the pregnancy finally was completed.
Was
So
completed.
what happened was she had a pregnancy. It failed at some point. There's no way of knowing exactly when.
Of course.
Frequently, very frequently, when people miscarry, they're incomplete. Some of it miscarries, the fetus is no longer alive, but you still continue to have a positive pregnancy test because there's still tissue there that hasn't been expelled. That finally happened in November when that pregnancy was completed, when that miscarriage was completed.
Okay, Dr. Mitchell, Mr. Echard has said that he doesn't believe that a pregnancy was possible here because there was no intercourse. Do you have an opinion about that? Regarding general, not regarding him
What's
or
up?
her, but in general.
Well, it's said that men are like basketball players. They dribble before they shoot. They also dribble afterwards. And if you are rubbing genitalia together, it is possible to get pregnant.
How much weight would you assign to the fact that Mr. Echard denied sexual intercourse? Is that significant?
Oh man. Oh man. I can't believe I didn't lose it in there. Like, oh my god. Ugh.
The question of whether she was pregnant, or is it a minor point?
It has nothing to do with whether she was pregnant.
Hold on 1 second, counsel.
I'll withdraw.
Withdrawn.
I'll
Okay.
withdraw. Dr. Mitchell, I think you said earlier that it's impossible to know for sure when Laura's pregnancy ended. Do you have an opinion about, based on the records that you've seen and the information that's been provided to you, do you have a theory about when?
It actually ended in November when her pregnancy test was negative. When it failed,
Wait, Dev, what did Megan make a button for her soundboard? The dribble thing? Did she ever have a DNC after a miscarriage? This is pretty standard, otherwise the mother can die from sepsis. Yeah, no, she did not. Otherwise she would have had to provide those medical records. Of course, she could always say she wouldn't got it done in Los Angeles, but she would have to say that on a day of her sentencing in her criminal hearing or something. Like, that's when she would bring that up. Did anyone laugh in the gallery for that part? Not that I recall, no. For the most part, people were very quiet. There was just that one outrageous moment where she said lying about seeing Dr. Higley was a very minor thing, and that's when some people kind of lost their cool for a second. It wasn't that bad. There were some people snickering or whatever. It was like a second, and it was not Reddit people. I know there's been some talk about that. Like, oh, how embarrassing, Reddit people are so crazy. They went, no, it was not Reddit people. I was sitting right in front of the people who did it. And some of them were the security guards. So, you know.
in other words, when it was no longer viable, there is no way of knowing exactly when that happened.
Okay. Dr. Mitchell, somebody online, I think, made a comment, theory obviously, that Laura may have injected herself with HCG. I think that we talked about a trigger shot or something like that. First of all, what is an HCG trigger shot?
It's used in trying to help somebody get pregnant, and it's.
I would like, since David and Dr. Mitchell here are like conflating HCG with pregnancy, like positive pregnancy test when the doctor knows it's a positive HCG test, I would like them to have to say pregnancy every time they're talking about HCG. So, doctor, can you tell me what a pregnancy injection is?
By prescription, it's an injection, and I saw no records that indicated that
I saw no records in her neurologist notes that indicated that she was on that.
anybody would have given her a prescription for HCG.
Okay.
Nor would there be a reason to give her one, especially if she was already pregnant.
Right. Dr. Mitchell, Clayton, in his pretrial statement, objected to your testimony on a couple of grounds, and I know you and I talked about this. I'll just read one of his objections, that you have relied on an admittedly tampered with data set. Do you feel that you've relied on admittedly tampered data in any way, shape, or form, forming your conclusion?
Absolutely not.
That man just lost all his credibility. Any credible doctor who knows the history of this case and her history of doctoring records would have some drawbacks.
All I've included were the fact that they both admitted that there was some type of intimacy, that there were all the other things that I used to make my decision was based on laboratory
It was based on basketball stats. They were dribbling, sir.
tests.
And the Planned Parenthood sonogram that we've spoken about, and I think you were sitting here and saw and heard that testimony. Did you rely on that Planned Parenthood sonogram in any way?
No,
And the HCG
Did you rely on any sonogram in any way?
test from any lab test now that Laura did not send to any court, the one that said 130 something thousand, do you rely on that in any way?
No.
Does the fact that Laura has those credibility problems and that
There's like these little moments when I obviously didn't realize this at the time, but afterwards, now looking at like back at the fact that I have that little screen in the left side here, and you can see just like a still of a black and white still of Judge Mata there. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
that she did some things that we all agree are dumb, does that change your opinion?
Salty, I believe the one that kept coming in and out of the Zoom chat was Dr. Dean's. She appeared to be at work, so she was probably going in and out while she was working in the hospital or something.
On whether or
That's just a guess, by the way.
not she was pregnant?
no.
Why not?
The lab tests, like I said, are 99+%, and they were repeated over and over and over. And so she was pregnant.
One other objection.
This man, of course, this man only did it because he's retired. But this man honestly believes 99% that she was pregnant. Knowing all that we know. Thank God that this man is retired and I will never have him as a doctor.
That Clayton made to your testimony, Dr. Medschel, is that you, with zero scientific or DNA basis, made a conclusion that Clayton was the father of twins. Have you reached that opinion at all?
No, that's
I mean, I don't see it in your report. I'm just wondering if you agree that you can't make any conclusions at all because we don't have DNA.
correct.
You're familiar with the RavGen test process.
Now all of a sudden facts
Can you
matter.
think of any reason why a woman who is not pregnant would want to take a test like that?
Bruce. That's true.
Dr. Mitchell, if Laura was not pregnant and she submitted a sample to RavGen, would RavGen be able to confirm that she wasn't pregnant?
Objection Foundation.
Dr. Mitchell, you're familiar with RavGen. You just said that.
Yes,
Did you ever use them in your practice or something like that, a similar service?
yes.
And as part of using a DNA testing service like that, does the service confirm that the woman is or isn't pregnant? Can they come back and say this woman's not pregnant?
Objection Foundation.
Did you ever have that happen? When you used DNA testing as a doctor, did you ever have a test come back that said that a woman was not pregnant?
Objection Foundation, and also RavGen's only been around for a few years. Retired for a few.
I'm asking about the process generally, Your Honor.
Yeah, I don't know if you can really hear what Greg was saying there, but he says RavGen's only been around a few years and he's been retired. So,
Overruled. He can answer the question.
boo. Just kidding.
Pre-cell DNA, which RavGen is a type, has been around for a number of years. I used it frequently. It not only tells you if you're pregnant, it tells if it's a boy or a girl. It'll tell you if it has genetic defects. It's incredible. It's the biggest, best new technology that we've had in the last 20, 30 years.
I was looking at my notes when you answered. So a RavGen type test or RavGen itself can tell whether it's a boy or a girl?
Yes.
Can tell, well,
Show us the results that say it's boy and girl twins.
then necessarily could tell whether the woman's pregnant at all?
Yes, obviously.
Okay. Dr. Mitchell, one final question, one serious. Can you see the picture behind you there of
Yes.
Laura's body? As a physician and as a man or doctor who's delivered lots of healthy babies and maybe some that didn't end healthy, can you explain how Laura's body could be that size? And she never said that she passed any dead fetus.
Objection. The scope of this presentation, being reviewed the photo as part of the exhibit.
Overruled. He can answer if he has an opinion. The court will give it the weight it deserves, which could be a little, a lot, or none at all.
That photo is actually one of the things that, did you look at this photo as part of your
I saw
review?
that photo earlier, yes.
And regarding the size of Laura's belly, which clearly is not here anymore, does that show you
Is the belly in the room with us now?
anything regarding whether or not she was pregnant?
It could indicate that she was pregnant, could indicate other things.
The fact
Wow, how insightful, doctor. I could have fucking told you that.
that Laura didn't claim to pass a large fetus, is that something surprising to you, or is that something that could logically be explained medically?
The fact that this pregnancy, in all likelihood, was no longer viable early in this pregnancy doesn't surprise me that she didn't pass much tissue at all.
I believe she said they were relatively close to the size of a hand, right? And there was photos. I don't see him here. It could be because the sister she claimed to have sent the photo to would refuse to testify for her. I didn't see her sister in the courtroom. I don't know anything about her sister, but I'm going to say that's bullshit.
How does that happen? Does the body?
What happens is the fetus starts to grow. At some point, the fetus stops growing. There's no longer a heartbeat. If it's very early, they may just get a period. If they miscarry, they may.
I gotta tell you guys, I'm super tired of middle-aged or older men talking about periods this week. Like, that's enough.
Pass a little tissue, maybe not. And some of that tissue remains enough that it continues to produce HCG. That's why she continued to have the positive pregnancy tests. And that's why we call it an incomplete abortion. Once we know that there's no longer a viable pregnancy there, but the pregnancy doesn't end until all that tissue is
Probably
gone,
not.
at which time it is a completed miscarriage.
Okay. Two more questions, Dr. Mitchell. Have you reviewed the expert report of Dr. Dean's, who's Clayton's expert?
Yes,
Do you disagree with anything that Dr. Dean said?
not really. The only thing that was amusing to me was the fact that they're relying on a clinical pregnancy.
They're relying on science. That's fucked up.
There's a old adage, either you're pregnant or you're not.
Who's heard that adage? I don't think anyone's heard that adage unless you're a pregnancy faker. What the fuck? What the fuck?
The adage isn't you're either clinically pregnant or not.
There's no adage, sir. Go back to your nursing home.
And the reason for that is because to be clinically pregnant, that means you have to have prenatal care.
To be clinically pregnant, you have to have proof.
Laura did not have prenatal care. I took
No, she
care of
did not.
hundreds of women who had
But she claimed to in court.
no prenatal care. So technically, we're not clinically pregnant, walked into the hospital and I delivered a 9-pound baby, even though they weren't clinically pregnant.
Why do I feel like he just forgot everything that happened before that?
Clinical pregnancy only means that they've gotten prenatal care that you could see on ultrasound or you could hear with an instrument.
But she did have ultrasounds. They were just fake because it was a fake pregnancy, not a clinical pregnancy, a fake one.
So a clinical pregnancy is not relevant here. It's either you're pregnant or you're not.
And your opinion?
No, sir, that is not the same. But almost a good try.
Is that Laura was pregnant, even if it wasn't a clinical pregnancy, she was pregnant.
Correct.
Thank you. No further questions.
All right, counsel, you're at 45 minutes and
When we're talking about things like pregnancy and medical issues, who cares if it's clinical or not, right? That's just science.
43 seconds. Counsel, you have 28 minutes, 46 seconds.
Thank you, doctor.
You consider yourself a scientist, correct?
I love this man.
Yes.
So you know that when collecting data, it's garbage.
If you missed it last night, Greg Woodnick walked over to like where I was sitting after the trial, and he said we needed to talk about the angle and his hairline. I think his hairline looks fine.
In, garbage out. If you're not relying on good data, the opinion you're going to give is not going to be credible. Is that correct?
That's why I only
Yes, Indigo.
relied on the data that I thought was totally credible.
And that was the data that Mr. Gingrich gave, right?
That was the data that was presented to me.
I saw when you drove into the parking lot, you walked in with Laura's mom in the parking lot. Are you friendly with her mother?
Yeah, I just met her this morning.
Okay, that's nice. Did you,
Okay, that's nice.
well, let's go here. Mr. Gingrich asked you whether or not you relied on the ultrasound, but you're aware that the ultrasound was a fake, correct?
I've been told that, and that's why I didn't rely on it.
Okay, but knowing that the ultrasound was a fake, doesn't that cause you to be incredulous about the other data that Ms. Owens presented you?
That's precisely why I only used the data that was laboratory proven.
Precisely why I ignored the evidence that was obviously faked by the person who was faking a pregnancy.
Well, you actually sat in here and are relying on a photocopy or a picture of a medical record that Laura gave. That was the banner with the 3 colors of highlighter. Do you remember seeing that? You were just sitting here. That, the
Yeah, I saw that. Yes.
You understand, Laura has admitted faking medical records.
Yes.
She faked ultrasounds by putting other lab names on them. She faked the 2 versions of the HCG test that you relied on, correct? Objection. That's exactly what you
Overruled.
testified
Can we
to.
address?
So I talked a little bit about this last night, but if you weren't here, David Gingras, after this trial, when he wrote his blog, basically accused Deandra, who crossed Laura, and Greg Woodnick here of being unethical, lying, not caring about the truth, because he said that Laura had doctored the HCG test twice. So we've seen the doctored HCG test. It says 131,000 something, I think, but there was also allegedly a 102,000 version. Now I thought we had seen that document. We have not. However, Laura, on behalf of her counsel, admitted publicly to altering an HCG test to a 102,000 level. Why? Because David Gingras tweeted it. He represents his client. That's a public statement. So, no, I don't think you can call somebody a liar for taking the word of her assigned representation when they admit on her behalf that she doctored a 102,000 HCG test.
It can be addressed and redirect.
Just Jen, it doesn't matter if we've seen 102,000 or not. Her representation said that there was a 102,000 test. So, and yes, Lila Smith, you're right. It was a minor misstatement, Jen. Not with the minor misstatements.
You know,
The data that I relied on was stuff that was verified from the laboratory itself.
that's not true. You relied on a photocopy that Laura took a picture of and provided you. It's in your file.
The Sonora Quest
Awkward.
test on October the 16th was, I believe, derived directly from Sonora Quest.
Okay, let me
I
pause
think
you. Does it concern you as a scientist that 3 men have accused Laura of fabricating medical documents?
that has nothing to do with the data.
Does it concern you as a, it doesn't have anything to do with the data? It doesn't mean that you should do
He's like trying to move on to his next question, and he's like, wait a minute, what the fuck? That's incredible. I can't believe this doctor just said that.
a deeper dive to verify the authenticity of the data?
If you have proof that the test from Banner or from Ravgen or from the quantitative HCG were fake, I'm willing to take a look at.
Like, this expert should just be saying yes or no at this point. Like, there's no reason for him to be this defensive. And he's like kind of like bumbling. I'm just like, what are you talking about, man? Like, you're making yourself look like you're not a competent doctor and you're retired, but like, I'm sure he was smarter than that.
At them, but that's what I have.
But doctor, we have proof. She changed the sonogram and she changed the HCG levels in one of the tests that you relied on.
I didn't rely on the ultrasound, and I didn't rely on the faked 100 and whatever thousand.
I hope your patients didn't rely on your medical advice.
Okay. You know that Laura testified that we can agree, you reviewed absolutely 0 records from Laura's PCP, correct? Well, that's a problem. Wouldn't you have wanted to talk to her PCP and see what drug she was on?
I saw what drugs she was on from Barrow.
Oh, you saw what drugs she was on from a neurologist that she had telemedicine. You didn't request, doctor, records from her PCP, correct?
I did not.
And you would
I did not request that relevant information. Fuck you for asking.
agree that, thank you. You would agree that it would have been helpful had you reviewed her historic gynecological record, correct? Correct?
The testing of her, whether she was pregnant or not, had nothing to do with her gynecological
You have
record.
no idea whether or not she had elevated HCG in her system or with any of the other medications, do you?
Uh,
The fact that she had a negative HCG at the end of her pregnancy tells me that she didn't have familial HCG.
this is almost as
in
good
her
watching it back.
system.
Okay, doctor, let's really quickly talk about other things that could have caused Laura's HCG to be elevated. As a physician and a scientist, you would agree that HCG could be elevated due to pituitary, correct?
Lila Smith, does anyone know if Ravgen has a result other than little to no DNA present if a person was not pregnant when taking the test? I don't believe so. I believe that's why they wouldn't come out and say that. I'm pretty sure they're only supposed to determine paternity, not whether or not there is a viable pregnancy.
Yes,
It could be elevated due to cancer, correct?
yes,
Ovarian cyst.
depending on if it was cancer.
You're aware that Dr. Yi and Dr. Chan both provided medical record, but both indicated that Laura had ovarian.
I saw those records.
Okay, here's where see how she's like smiling over in the corner there? She knows she faked those records. She knows she sent them to Michael Maraschini. And you know what? If it was someone else, and if she wasn't the one who faked those cancer records, she can sue me. That's how confident I am that she did that.
I didn't.
I'll move on. Let's go back. It could be elevated HCG could be caused by weight loss drugs.
I'm not aware of weight loss, but there are drugs that can alter HCG results.
Let's talk about that a little bit more. How about anxiety medication?
Yes,
How about antidepressants?
yes.
And you have no idea whether or not Laura was on any of those medications.
Pay attention to her reactions here, because when she's smiling and like she looks kind of like incredulous over there, like how dare you accuse me of that? Like she knows that she made this stuff up. So you can tell like the little things that she does with her face is showing that like she's not afraid of the people in that room. She's not afraid of Mike Paracchini. She is not afraid of Greg Gillespie, because none of them ever hacked her, sent out fake medical records on her behalf. She did it all on her own. She is, as I said before, diabolical, not insane.
Because you didn't review her historic medical records other than what was provided to you by telemed at Barrows, correct?
I saw that she was on some of those medicines,
What medicine?
the anti-anxiety medicines.
An anti-anxiety medicine that you just said could elevate her HCG. Last, doctor.
Jay, Lauren, we could be a force of fundraising if she sues you, not on my watch. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. But I don't see that happening, because the only thing that I outright say without prefacing it with like, this is my opinion, this is my speculation, is things that I know that are true to be fact. And like there are a forensic expert has verified that she sent those documents. So I'm not worried about it. I mean, she could threaten me, sure, but I'm not going to take that seriously because we know it came from her. So
IVF drugs also cause escalated HCG, do they not?
Certain types.
Laura could have been on Novarel or Pregin, correct? Pregin.
I saw no records of that, and there would be no reason why, if she was pregnant, that she'd be on those.
One last question, doctor. The antipsychotic clozapine causes elevated HCG, does it not?
It's been reported to.
So that was just kind of like an implication that maybe she was on that. They weren't like pointing at her medical record, I think, at that point and saying like she's on this. I think it was just an implication. I actually have no idea where that came from, but obviously I'm not the legal team, so I don't have the information that they have. So
Thank you, Bishop.
Right, redirect.
One question, Dr. Mitchell, regarding the potential of some
Dr. Mitchell, how many babies have you delivered?
issue other than
The only question that matters.
pregnancy being the source of Laura's HCG in her blood. Are you aware that after November 14th, or on November 14th, she tested negative twice?
Yes.
If Laura had drugs or tumors or cysts or anything else that was causing an elevated HCG level. Would she have tested negative for pregnancy twice on November 14th?
No, it would
Further
still been
questions?
positive.
Okay, before you sit down, doctor, I just have a few questions. So
Judge
you
has
said that
questions.
HCG requires a prescription, correct?
The injecting, yes.
Does Planned Parenthood have the authorization to write those prescriptions, as far as you know, in Arizona anyway?
I can't imagine any reason why they would. It's a drug that's used to induce ovulation, so it's
But are they capable?
used in infertility patients.
Okay,
Planned Parenthood doesn't normally do infertility.
I understand, but that wasn't my question. My question was, are the medical doctors there able to write a prescription for it if they chose to, if they deemed it medically
I
necessary?
like Judge Mata. I think she's fair.
Yes,
Okay. Did you review either the Planned Parenthood records from Mission Viejo or Los Angeles?
No.
Okay. Follow up to the court's questions.
Nothing. Thank you, Judge.
Mhm.
Follow up to the court's questions. Thank you, doctor. You can step down.
No records from Los Angeles to the expert.
Down.
Possibly because Planned Parenthood in Los Angeles is closed on the day that she claims to have gone.
And counsels, before we
All
call the next
details,
witness up,
not
just
important.
so that I point this out to the parties, we've explored B9, B31, and A12 that have not been moved. I don't know if that was just an oversight or if the parties are intending to move those.
I'm sorry, can I have those numbers?
Sure, B9, B31, and A12 were addressed.
I would move to admit A12, Dr. Dean.
All right, so you're on the clock for her testimony, but getting her set up is not.
We'll skip that little time
Thanks.
there.
Hi, Dr. Deans, good morning.
Good morning. I can hear you.
Can you see me?
I can.
All right, and doctor, before we get started, and I give this advisory
Mag in Florida, why both reviewing these? What are we talking about here?
whenever we have virtual witnesses, is if you need,
Oh, why bother? I think is what. Yeah. Okay. Why bother?
I understand we've all got multiple screens going. If you need to look at a report or your notes or something different, I need you to let me know that you're going to do that. We'll give you an opportunity to do it wherever that document is located. Once your recollection has been reflected, please look away from that screen and let us know that you're ready. Additionally, you should be able to see
Ray, I'm not
once
sure,
we put
sorry.
it up any exhibits that either counsel will ask you to review. Please let me know if you can't.
Lila Smith, Judge Mata asked if the doctors at Planned Parenthood have the capability to prescribe HCG injections.
See it, okay?
I will. Thank you.
You're welcome. When you're ready, counsel.
Hi, Dr. Deans. I'm going to go lightning fast. Introduce yourself to the court, please.
Hi, I'm Dr. Samantha Deans.
Where'd you go to medical school?
You're gonna see a huge difference in like the professionalism here. Like when she answers questions that would not necessarily like be great for Clayton, like she just answers the question because she's a doctor, she's a professional, right? She's not defensive towards anybody. She's not there to like pick sides. She's just there doing her job as a medical professional.
Indiana University School of Medicine.
Are you board certified?
Double board certified.
What's your first board
Obstetrics and gynecology.
and your second board?
Complex family planning.
Well, you have 2 fellowships?
Just one fellowship.
Thank you. Do you teach
I do.
medical students and physicians?
Medical students and resident doctors. Yes.
You teach them gynecological and early family planning?
Yes. Complex family planning.
All right. Thank you, Professor Deans. You've provided us with your CV, which is Exhibit 39. I'd move to admit. Don't judge.
B39 is received.
You also did a report for us. It's Exhibit 41, which we'll pull up on the screen. Did you have an opportunity to review the medical records for Laura Owens?
Yes. The ones I was provided with.
Exhibit number 41.
The ones you were provided with. Okay, it means something different from her.
Did you know that that was published online on a website?
Just to confirm, I'm looking at my report, and no, I did not know that was published on a website.
Did you give
Awkward.
Miss Owens permission to publish your report on a website?
I did not.
Okay.
Okay. Don't forget to pay attention over to the right here. Look at her talking to David.
Judge, I'm tendering Dr. Deans as an expert here.
Objection?
I have one voir dire question for her.
This is my favorite moment. Ready?
Sure, go ahead.
Dr. Deans, hi, good morning. How many children have you delivered
How many children have you delivered? That's all that matters to this man.
as a OBGYN?
Probably too many to count, but I would say at least 3,000 at this point.
Never mind you being a woman. How could you possibly understand?
Okay, I stipulate to for expertise.
Never mind you being a
All right,
female doctor.
Basic question, Dr. Deans. I'm going to go fast here. Do you have concerns regarding the legitimacy of some of the records you reviewed?
I do.
If this court were to assume that the June 1st HCG test actually came from Laura, would that confirm pregnancy?
No.
What is the medical standard of care to confirm a pregnancy?
That would have to be either serial HCGs showing a trend over time, or a pregnancy test and or an ultrasound, or a physical exam that confirms an intrauterine pregnancy.
And we had none of that here, correct?
Correct.
All right, I'm showing you exhibit number 28. Are you aware that
That's true.
that's the ultrasound from Laura? Are you aware that that was altered?
Yes, I am.
Laura claimed it was anonymous and from Planned Parenthood. Any thoughts about that?
Patients cannot be seen anonymously at Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood, having been a former medical director of Planned Parenthood, PPFA, which is our national guidelines, require identification at the time of a visit to confirm the identity of the patient. The patient can't be seen anonymously.
You're not going to see any practice that will take you anonymously. The only time you could go in anonymously anywhere is if you're going to like an emergency room. I know that because we get actual Jane Does and actual John Does all the time, right? Because they've been in accidents, they can't communicate, they don't have any ID. But oh, sorry about that, guys. Okay, but the thing is, like, you can't just walk into any practice and use a fake name or say you're anonymous or whatever. Like, you have to provide identification. They might even ask for your social security number. Like, you cannot just do that. Not in any reputable practice, anyways. I don't know if you can walk into some shoddy business and do that shit. Like, if there's some sort of underground market for anonymous medical records, like, I don't know. But any reputable practice, you cannot do that.
Thank you. Laura claims she was pregnant with twins. Anything you reviewed in any of the medical records confirmed that Laura was pregnant with twins?
If somebody walked in there and was saying, like, I want to be anonymous, they would tell you no. And then you try to use a fake name, but you wouldn't have any identifying information for that fake name. The next step, if you decide to keep going and go further and be like, well, something happened to me, like I'm scared or I don't remember, they would probably recommend you go straight to the ER. Be like, something happened, like this person doesn't remember anything, like she's in a fugue state or something, you know what I mean? Not that that's a thing here. So then the emergency room would take care of you from there. They wouldn't send you back to the office. They would do your testing there. So yeah, it's not a thing on any level, like any workaround. Come back to the same conclusion. Like, you're gonna get sent to the ER if you show up all crazy trying to pretend you're some anonymous being, and you won't, like, give ID or anything like that, and people think you're actually in distress or you're actually like having a problem. Because if you go up and do that, like, somebody's gonna think you're nuts, and they're probably gonna call 911. So yeah, in my opinion, not possible.
No. Laura claimed that the twins were boy and girl gender. Anything that you reviewed that confirms that?
No.
Do you recall reviewing the October 16th HCG test? I think it had a 100 or 3-digit HCG level on it.
I do.
Are you aware that there's actually 2 other versions of that exact same test in circulation?
I've heard that. I have not.
If I told you there was another version with 1,000 times higher HCG level, would that cause you concern?
Yes, it would.
Are there alternate causations
Yes, it would, but it wouldn't concern Dr. Medchill now, would it?
for a positive HCG test as we have here?
Yes, sir.
Did you review I'm going to skip over the photos. Did you review Dr. Medchill's report?
I did.
You're aware that Laura first claimed she miscarried in September or October, and then the photos that are in the report indicate that it happened in the 3rd week of July, correct?
Correct.
Pursuant to Dr. Medchill's report, he concluded,
Justice Clayton, what's
do you
up?
agree with his conclusion that the data here warrants that Laura was 99% pregnant?
No, I do not agree with that assessment.
Do you agree with Dr. Medchill that the record confirms, this is from his report, a May 20th conception date?
Absolutely not. There's no data to confirm a conception date at this point that
But Laura said,
would require an ultrasound dating of a pregnancy.
Professor Deans, thank you. Judge, I just moved to admit Exhibit 41 if I didn't already.
Any objection?
No objection.
41's received. Cross-examination when you're ready.
Dr. Deans, you reviewed.
I don't know, man. I think we should take the word of the retired male doctor who clearly has a bias over this like professional doctor with credentials and is currently practicing. I mean, it seems pretty clear cut that Dr. Medchill obviously knows with 99% certainty that Laura was pregnant. All the evidence totally points to that.
Reviewed records that showed that Laura had HCG in her blood October 16th, 2023. You familiar with those?
Yes.
Where did that HCG come from?
It could come from a variety of sources.
Okay, and your report mentions some of those sources. I'm just going to ask about specific things. Exogenous injection, I'm assuming that's a fancy way of saying sticking yourself with a needle.
Correct. Exogenous would be an HCG source from outside of the body.
And do you have any information, or have you seen any records that suggest that that happened here?
I don't.
Okay. Heterophilic antibodies, which I did a little reading on that. Some sort
How dare you say heterophilic during Pride Month?
of allergic response, it sounds like maybe.
Just kidding.
Correct. An autoimmune response can be triggered by exposure to animals and create positive tests.
Okay. But the fact that Laura tested negative for pregnancy November 14th would appear to be inconsistent with at least the heterophilic antibody theory. Would you agree with that?
It depends on the type of test. A urine pregnancy test might be positive, but a blood test could still be positive. It depends on the assessment and the level of HCG at the time of the test.
Okay, and I think Dr. Medchill said, and I think you also said, that cancer can cause elevated HCG levels. That's a fact, right?
Correct.
And have you seen any records to suggest that Laura has cancer?
Lila Smith, the sonogram video from the Vanishing Twin blog had boy and girl twins, right? So it wouldn't be her lack of grasp on reality. It would be sticking to her story of fake evidence. Yes, that's correct. Jay, PCOS storyline is so full of holes in how and what it does to one's body, and nothing in her version is true to PCOS. Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Presently, or that she did in 2023?
Not presently. No, I know there's a discussion of a prior history of ovarian cancer.
I understand that. But regarding 2023, if Laura had cancer in 2023 that caused false positive pregnancy tests between May and October, when the last one was, how can you explain her testing negative in November?
I mean, I think it makes that less likely unless she had treatment in the meantime.
I think she faked it.
And another option that you wrote about in your report was something called familial HCG syndrome, as being a way that someone could test positive, have HCG in their blood, not from pregnancy, correct?
Correct.
Do you know how rare that is?
Very rare.
Do you, doctor, know how rare that is? Me, random lawyer, wants to know.
I read that it was about 10 cases on the planet. Does that sound about right to you? And again, if
Unless you're taking it intentionally.
Laura had familial HCG syndrome, that would explain some false positive tests in the middle of the year, but it wouldn't explain the negative at the end, would it?
That is correct.
What would explain it is Photoshop.
Dr. Deans, in your report, you talked about objective evidence of pregnancy. On the first page in particular, you said that the only objective evidence of pregnancy is a Banner Urgent Care serum quantitative HCG from, well, I think that's actually a misstatement. The October 16th wasn't at Banner, but there was a serum HCG, and you've referred to that as objective evidence of pregnancy. Is that true?
Correct.
And in the absence of some other explanation, cancer, familial, horse tranquilizers, or whatever, in the absence of some other explanation, you would agree, and Dr. Medchill, I think, said, that HCG test from October 16th is objective evidence of pregnancy, right?
Ariana, I'm not sure, but I'm betting.
It is objective evidence, and one of the possibilities of that objective evidence is pregnancy.
Right. And if a woman is pregnant, regardless of how much or how little prenatal care she has, she's still pregnant, right?
If they are pregnant, yes.
I mean, a woman could be pregnant and have no ultrasound until the day the baby comes out, and she's still pregnant, right?
And one could have very good Adobe skills and still not be pregnant.
Yes, and the objective data would be the baby coming out of her body.
Right. And Dr. Deans, you worked, or your report and your resume indicated that you worked at Planned Parenthood for a while?
That's correct.
In that capacity, did you counsel women regarding terminating their pregnancies?
Correct.
And just for the record, I'm strongly pro-choice, strongly Planned Parenthood.
Why is that relevant? I mean, cool, I like that, but like, why is that relevant?
If a woman was choosing or was thinking about choosing to terminate her pregnancy, why would she have
He about to run for office. Tell the truth.
prenatal care?
Covering his ass, class 83. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. After all he's done, he has a lot of ass to cover. Maybe more ass than I have.
Oftentimes patients care first to confirm their pregnancy before they make their decision about how to end it.
But in a lot of states,
I'm sorry to cut you off for another.
I'm out of time. Thank you very much.
Okay, so this is where Gingras runs out of time. So he then does not have time to cross Clayton. So just keep that in mind.
Thank you.
No redirect. Thank you, Professor Deans. We appreciate your help.
All right, any
Thank you.
objection to the professor disconnecting?
No.
All right, thank you, Dr. Deans. If you'd like to disconnect, you may. If you'd like to stay and listen, you absolutely may.
Mindy FS, Laura 90 was a crazy being in the room. A little bit, yeah. But like I said, I was really focused on the screen and the camera, and so like it's hard to kind of take everything in at the time. But yeah, there were some moments where I just kind of stopped and like couldn't pay attention to anything else except what was happening in front of me. Like it was a train wreck. I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe they don't allow popcorn in here.
Thank you very much.
But you know, I'm not saying a professional because I'm just like a YouTuber, right? But I am a person who knows how to conduct themselves. I did not make any weird noises. The only time I maybe even whispered, or yeah, I think I did whisper a couple times to Scott, my friend Scott, who operated the camera, was to talk about the camera angle. So, you know, I kind of worried about that. I was like, what if she like makes a big deal about the cameras being in here? But then I remember the judge approved it, so it didn't matter. It was a little surreal. Yeah, I've never been to anything like this before. I mean, I've been in court before, not for me, but I've been in court. And I just, I've never seen anything like this. So,
Welcome.
how hard was it not to laugh in court? I like make jokes about how hard it was not to laugh in court, but it was actually not hard at all. When you think about the consequences of laughing openly in a proceeding like that, like all eyes would be on me. I would be humiliated. And that would be like kind of damaging to like Clayton's image because of the, you know, whole she blames like the JFC crew or whatever, even though it wasn't Reddit people who were snickering that one time. So, you know, it's not hard at all for me to hold back from that. I feel like it's very serious. So it's not really as funny in the moment. After the fact, yeah, it's kind of like, you know, when like something bad happens and it's like super, super sad and super heavy, like some of this is. And then if you're someone like me, you like make fun of it afterwards because it's like that's your way of dealing with it. It's kind of like that, except like I didn't have to deal with it. These men had to deal with it, but that was kind of what it was like. It was like this is super heavy stuff. I'm gonna try to keep my cool here, and I'm not gonna have a hard time doing that. So, yeah.
Time check, Judge.
38 minutes, 57 seconds.
We're going to call Clayton quickly.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate you. NDFS, thank you. That's right, just
I'm going to be lightning fast. State your name to the court.
Clayton Echard.
Did you participate and sign the pretrial statement that we provided to Judge Manta?
Yes.
Are those statements true and accurate?
Yes.
Are we asking the court, in light of our very limited time today, to consider our pretrial statement as part of your testimony today?
Yes.
How did you meet Laura?
Laura targeted me on LinkedIn. She asked to do real estate. We ended up.
Pay attention to what she's doing over there on the side. She's looking at him. She looks like she's smirking a little bit. Does this seem like someone who's afraid enough to warrant an order of protection? Like, does she look afraid of him? Like she claims to be afraid of Michael Maricini, but she hasn't had an issue this whole time. You know what I mean?
Exchanging contact info. She became flirtatious, sent me a provocative photo. I told her to come over, and then we saw homes the next day.
Did you have sex with Laura?
Absolutely not. I've said time and time again, she performed oral on me twice. That's it.
Have you heard two other versions about what happened?
Absolutely. Many versions. She's claimed that she was raped by me. She also claims I was too high to remember what happened that day.
He was too high to remember. She knew that before she went over there, and she's the one who assaulted him. But again, I can't say that's what happened. He says that he remembers everything. I believe whatever he says in regards to what happened that night because he's the credible witness here. And so you know, if he came out and said like, yes, that was an assault, then I would take that seriously. But as far as I, you know, have heard from him, it's just like he was just like a little bit, you know, buzzed or whatever.
I'm going to repeat what you just said. She claimed she was raped by you and that you were too high to remember.
That's correct.
Were you too high to remember?
Well, that's incorrect. I remember every single thing from that night.
Did you
So there we go.
rape her?
I did not.
You stated that she gave you oral sex twice that evening. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Where did you complete?
Her mouth both times.
What happened?
So awkward having to say that in front of a judge, but here we are because she brought it this far.
The second time?
She ran straight to the bathroom.
Were your fluids ever down there, as Laura has claimed?
No.
What happened the next days?
The next day, we went and saw houses. I told her that I crossed a professional boundary. I told her that that was a one-time thing. It would not happen again. She became very agitated at that point, was crying, and asked for me to give her a chance.
But hang on for a second. She came over to your house. She gave you oral sex twice. The next day, you told her you weren't interested in her?
That's correct. I rejected her, yes.
And then 4 days later, what happened?
4 days later, she started making claims that she could possibly be pregnant.
But hang on. Did your penis ever go inside her accidentally, inadvertently, or anything
No.
like that?
No.
You're a public figure. You're the Bachelor. That's why everyone's watching today. Are you embarrassed to say
I'm watching for Greg Woodnick's hairline.
who you've had sex with, Clayton?
I think I'm the last person to lie about who I've been intimate with.
And if you saw Clayton's season of The Bachelor, you know that's true.
Did you have penile vaginal sex whatsoever?
No, absolutely not.
Has that been your story since day one?
My story's been consistent since day one.
I'm going to show you exhibit number 3. Put that up on the screen. Thanks, Isabel. Did Laura start communicating with you more after she said she thought she was pregnant at 4 days?
Yes, nonstop.
At 4 days. 4 days.
She sent me over 500 emails and text messages, 13 different phone numbers.
13 phone numbers?
Phone numbers.
How many messages?
Over 500.
She's still whispering over there to David Chingris. And if she's really that scared, as scared as she says she is of these men, she's watching them like a hawk. She's worried about everything that they're going to do. She's not snickering and laughing and smiling and smirking. Like, she would be afraid. She would look afraid. This woman, I don't believe she's afraid.
Exhibit 3, is that a sample of those texts and emails that were shown to Judge Gail Ketzis in the injunction against harassment hearing from November 2nd, 2023?
Yes.
Move to admit exhibit 3, and Judge, you already took notice because you watched the videos.
I assume no objection.
Thank you, Minnie.
No objection.
E3 is received.
At some point, did she start calling your mom, who's in the courtroom?
She started reaching out to my parents. She started reaching out to my work organizations. She started reaching out to women that I talked to in the past. She went for everybody.
Truly.
Was she claiming anything in particular?
She was claiming that I was a deadbeat that's not supporting her through her pregnancy.
Well, hang on. It was more than that, Clayton. It was a deadbeat who was not supporting her through her pregnancy of what?
With twins.
Twins.
Yes.
Did she reach out to the Sun magazine?
She did, yes.
Did she ever tell you what genders the imagined twins were?
Boy and
Imagine
girl.
twins.
Did she ever tell you, drawing your attention to some motions Laura filed and for purposes of attorney's fees, she filed a motion to communicate on August 8th, a motion to compel communication on August 23rd, and August 29th, a few days later, an expedited motion to communicate. And then shortly thereafter, she filed an order of protection, correct?
Yes.
Dying for him to communicate with her, yet she needs a protective order. Okay.
You're aware that she's filed orders of protection against 2 other individuals seated in the back of the courtroom, correct?
That's correct, yes.
They are on the left.
Yes. Well, my right, but yes. Or left.
Thank you. Greg Gillespie and
Michael Mancini.
I want to look at exhibit number 7, Clayton. Is that a true and accurate copy of email communication between you and Laura from July 1st, 2023?
Absolutely, yes.
You received it
Yes.
and she sent it? You
Yes.
heard her testify with Ms. Arena from my office, or excuse me, with Mr. Gingras, denying that emails exchanged were from her. She seems to be blaming, I guess, Greg Gillespie for faking her emails. You remember her testimony?
Yes, yes, she said that, but nothing she says is true.
She's actually sent you emails with videos attached to
I'm so proud of him.
them, and you've responded back to them,
That's
correct?
correct, yes.
All right. Specifically, exhibit number 7. I think you stated that it was a true and accurate copy. I think the caption, I'm going to try to read it on the caption, the top. I think it says, "The final opportunity to consider abortion." You remember getting this from Laura?
Yes.
Move to
Oh,
admit-
God. Okay. Sorry, I just needed a minute to prepare myself for the email readings. It's always a little bit shocking.
Exhibit 7.
Objection.
Yeah, no objection, Your Honor.
7's received.
Further down in that email, Clayton, and this will get awkward, but further down in that email on from July 1st, which was weeks after the alleged encounter, Laura references her tight vagina. Why is that both uncomfortable and relevant?
Because she's stating that if I would have felt how tight her vagina was, I might change my mind, which is her stating that I never penetrated her. We never had penetrative sex.
Wait, the exhibit that the court just received has Laura saying that her vagina was tight as if you hadn't been in there before?
That is correct.
Well,
I can't
had you
believe
been in
this
there
is
before?
happening.
I did not know.
All right. She also sent you communications in exhibit number 7 talking about wanting to have sex with you during a week, trial week. What was that about?
Ariane Fowler, if it was a sexual assault, that would have been the story to take to the sun. True. If that was actually sexual assault, which I know is not what you're saying, but the fact that she didn't bring up that any sort of sexual assault there or in her order of protection petition, to my knowledge, that says a lot. So.
Yeah, she said that she would be the safest person to have sex with since she was already pregnant.
Hang on for a second. She told you she wanted to have sex with you because she was already pregnant?
That's correct.
How did you feel when you read that email, Clayton?
I've been sick. My stomach, all of this has made me sick.
Did you feel like she was trying to trap you?
Absolutely.
You heard the testimony with Dr. Medchill concerned that Laura was on IVF medication trying to get pregnant. Is that consistent with those concerns?
Yeah, I believe that she was taking medications.
I'm going to show you exhibit number 6. And let me restate that question. You heard my question to Dr. Medchill about IVF medications, which are used to cause pregnancy, and you share concerns that she was using those to trap you. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. Exhibit number 6, Isabel.
Correct, Jay.
Exhibit number 6 is another email dated June 28th, 2023. Is that a true and accurate copy of the correspondence between you and Laura?
Yes.
You remember reading this?
I remember reading.
You remember reading it on June 28th-ish when you received it?
I do, yes.
And the title of this, can you read the title of this out loud for the court?
Having the baby if I don't hear back tonight.
Having the baby if I don't hear back tonight. Move to admit exhibit 6.
Oh boy.
Any objection?
No objection.
I noticed that she does not have any real reaction to that over there. At least it doesn't look like it. Hang on, guys. Sorry, let me fix this line real quick. Just reminded me to do something after this. Yeah. Let's go back and look at her. We'll pay attention to her face a little more. Where are we at? 150. Let's go back like 30 seconds.
Exhibit number 6. And let me
Scott
restate
zooms
that.
out here, so we'll
You heard
see.
my question to Dr. Medchill about
Having the
IVF
baby, yeah, Jay.
medications, which are used to cause pregnancy, and you share concerns that she was using those to trap you. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. Exhibit number 6, Isabel. Exhibit number 6 is another
Yep, still whispering.
email dated June 28th, 2023. Is that a true and accurate copy of the correspondence between you and Laura?
He seems to actually, David Gingras seems to be actually trying to pay attention.
This.
You remember reading this?
I remember reading.
You remember reading it on June 28th-ish when you received it?
I do, yes.
And the title of this, can you read the title of this out loud for the court?
Having the baby if I don't hear back tonight.
Having the baby if I don't hear back tonight.
Yeah.
Move to admit exhibit 6.
No laughter there.
Any objection?
No objection.
6 is received.
Thank you. I'm going to show you exhibit 11. Did Laura send you ultrasounds during this time period?
Yes, she did.
Is exhibit 11 an image of an ultrasound you received from Laura?
Yes.
She's going to claim that she didn't send this to you, but how do you know this came from Laura?
Because I was interacting with her from that same email address. I also took a screen record showing that it was from her email address, and that's where all my other communications have come from her.
Real quick, so on exhibit number 11, this
IB Laura whispered a lot to Corey too. I noticed that. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah. So all her lawyers really.
one says, the caption on it says, ultrasound video.
You know, notice Clayton was just sitting there. I'm pretty sure during most of the testimony. I wasn't really watching too closely, but he seemed to just be sitting there.
Video proof, correct?
That's correct.
And the signature block on there in the
He did
picture
was
is the
shake his
exact
head.
same signature block and picture from the other email, which is also not favorable to Laura, which claims it's not hers, correct?
So that's
Move
right.
to admit exhibit 11.
Any objection?
No objection.
On exhibit 11, well, do you know where the video came from on exhibit number 11?
Yeah, from a YouTube video from 7 years ago.
YouTube video from 7 years ago? On that, this is the one that says smile, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one says GE.
No, this one's a different one. Yes.
Okay, because how many are there? How many ultrasounds have you seen?
3.
Okay. This one, I think on the cap.
3. He's so exasperated. Like, this woman's exhausting.
caption says, "And here's my 100,000,000% real ultrasound."
100,000,000%, folks.
Yeah, a lot of.
She's very trustworthy.
You remember? I don't know if my math is right on that. Do you remember receiving that?
That's received before, yes.
Court already admitted it. I'm going to show you exhibit number 28. You recall receiving this ultrasound?
Yes, I saw this from Bonnie Platter.
Okay, I'm going to be real clear about this. Miss Owens just testified that she did not use this ultrasound in a court proceeding, but it was actually admitted as an exhibit by Laura through her counsel at the February 2nd, 2024 deposition of you.
I think Laura forgets the lies she tells through her counsel. She doesn't tell them it's lies, but she lets them tell it, knowing that she knows, she's knowing that it's not true. So when David Gingras tweets out that she altered a document to say 102,000 HCG level, you got to take her word for it. Because she's also saying that was her ultrasound through an attorney. So we are supposed to take her word for it. So you can't just say, oh, that was a misstatement or whatever. It's an official statement from your representation.
You, correct?
Correct.
All right. That video deposition of you, have you seen that recently?
Yes, I have.
Where did you see the video deposition of yourself?
It was posted on YouTube by either her counsel or herself.
Wait, Laura or her counsel posted your video deposition on?
That's correct.
Okay. I don't know what they were hoping to accomplish with that because nothing that he posted looks good for his client. It actually shows Clayton as some sort of poster child for like asking for consent and accepting no for an answer. So I don't know what the fuck he was thinking when David Gingras posted that, but it did not accomplish anything. It just made him look kind of weird. Not like physically. I'm not bashing anyone's look here. I just mean kind of weird as a professional.
How many paternity tests did you take, Clayton?
3.
I'm going to show you exhibit number 36. You know what? I'm going to skip past that. That was the Dr. Medchill's. I'll skip past that. Well, you know what? Real quickly, how many versions of the HCG test have you seen?
2, I believe. Yeah, the 102 and 100.
One with more digits on it?
Yes.
All right.
LEF says she's a psychologist and she disagrees about sociopathy. I actually disagree with that too. One thing I notice around these cases is that a lot of people will like read up on different disorders and stuff like that and try to figure out what's going on because it's kind of like fascinating in a way because you're like, why would anyone do this? I want to understand. So you go and you like look it up on the internet and you can use like the best resources you can find. But unless you're like trained in psych, you're going to have a hard time differentiating between different things because so many diseases or personality disorders or anything like that, they have like some similar symptoms. So I've seen people like throw around the word histrionic and like say like, oh, she has histrionic personality disorder. I'm like, I don't think that you really understand what a person with histrionic personality disorder looks like. You know what I mean? So I even had someone call me histrionic, and I was just like, ma'am, what the fuck? I got the weirdest like negging message, like a private message. And I went to my message request and I read it and I was like, are you insane? Like it sounded like somebody read something on the internet and was just like caught me on a day when I was upset or something. It was just like, you're histrionic, you're unhinged. And I was just like, this is why people need to look to professionals because anyone can read something on the internet and get the wrong idea and run with it. So
I'm going to show you exhibit number 46. Would you agree that exhibit number 46 for attorney's fees is a blog from Mr. Gingras where he acknowledges his client faked some of the.
Chris Jenner thought it was funny. I thought it was funny too. She sent me a message like so long, dude. Like it was so long and like rambling. And I was like, is this a manifesto? Are you writing me a manifesto and you're calling me histrionic? I don't know you. And like, it was really weird because she was really nice in some of the message. And then in those other parts of it, she was like calling me disordered. I was just like, ma'am, I am not going to respond to you if you talk to me like this. So I just like didn't answer it, but I don't know. I hope she figures her shit out and decides, whether she wants to watch my YouTube or not. If not, I wish her the best, but please stay out of my inbox.
The science test.
Yes, that's correct.
Amy Lynn, no, Laura did not send me a message that I was histrionic. It was some random viewer. And someone I've never spoken to before. And I was just like, I'm not responding to this. Because it was weird. It's like she wanted me to respond because she was like, I think you're unhinged because I read your tweets and I don't know the context. And I was like, okay, so that's important. First of all. Second, she was like, I think you're, it reads as like histrionic or something. Like, you clearly don't know what histrionic means. So please go back to your day job.
I'm going to show you to move this along.
Oh God, Cat Lady, I wish her all the best. I didn't mean it like that. I swear, like I say all the best all the time, and now I can't. So I've been good about it so far. I wish her well. Let's put it that way. I wish that lady well, even though she sent me a weird negging email. It was very strange. I've never received correspondence that odd in my life, and I got emails from Tag, so that's saying something.
Exhibit number 55.
Bruce from Oregon. If you would send me an angry email, you could see how tight my inbox is.
Exhibit number 55 was right before your March 1st
Oh,
deposition.
yeah, Chris, that's
Or
true.
right before, excuse me, Laura's March 1st deposition. Actually, did she show up at her earlier deposition?
No, she didn't.
And the court ordered her compelled to attend, and we're still waiting for the court
Ariane
order on the
Fowler, I
transfer.
understand.
Is that
Me
correct?
too.
Correct.
But at her, right before, what happened a day or two related to Exhibit 55, a day or two before your deposition?
She threatened to extort me to the tune of $1.4 million in order for me to drop the deposition and the case entirely.
Wait a minute. She sent you a letter a day before trying to get out of the deposition?
Yes, she threatened me.
Threatened you with what?
Thank you, Lila Smith. Also, I love the wait a minute. What's going on here? Because it's just kind of I know how they do, testimony and witness examination and stuff like that, but just knowing that Laura sent that message to Greg Woodnick to send to Clayton is just kind of funny watching.
What?
Monetary means.
Is everything that we've talked about today so far, other than the YouTube videos, which are more recent, is everything addressed in prior pleadings already before Judge Mata?
Yes.
Really quickly, for attorney's fees purposes, let me get in a few exhibits real quick. Exhibit 29, 37, and 59. These are the medical records from pursuant to subpoena from doctors for Planned Parenthood, Dr. McCool,
Bless
and
their
Dr.
heart, Channel E, I'll start saying that.
I'm sorry, you said 37.
Correct that, sorry. 29, 37, and 59.
Any objection?
Not to those. Did we talk about Exhibit 54 yet?
Hold on 1 second. 29, 37, and what was the other one?
59.
59 are received. We'll talk about that one after council.
And then I'll go back. It was exhibit number 55, which is the letter that Laura sent you, suing you to sue you for $1.4 million before the deposition. Move to admit.
Salty, I guarantee
Now
you
that
she
one I'll
didn't
object to. That's a
say
Rule
one.
408 settlement offer, Your Honor. He's offering to prove that the claim
That's a settlement offer. That's not extortion.
is not valid. That's absolutely inappropriate.
Judge, just,
Over objection, the court's going to receive it for the purposes of attorney's fees only. Counsel, you have run out of time.
I'm out of time.
You're out.
I was bummed that he ran out of time because that was like really fun to watch. I wish that they had more time. But yeah.
Let's back down. Okay, so counsel, what exhibit were you asking me about?
Hold on, let's wait. Watch that back. Watch the walk back to the chair. Hang on.
I'm out of time.
You're out. Let's back down.
He's just like, fuck you.
Okay, so counsel, what exhibit were you asking me about? You said has something been moved.
54. We just cured that.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so at this time, what the court's going to do is I'll take this under advisement. What that means is I'm going to go back, I'm going to review the notes that I took today. I'm going to review the evidence that was admitted to the court, and then everyone will receive my order.
Your Honor, I have one housekeeping matter. I'm leaving the country tonight. I'm not back until June 28th. If the court issues something that requires a quick response, I'm going to be on a boat and I may not have the ability to respond. So I would just ask either that you grant me some extension if I need it. I return back to the country June 28th. So just advising you.
Okay, and I'm sorry, counsel, when do you leave?
Tonight.
Okay, all right, so June 10th to the 28th, you will
Correct.
be unavailable.
I should have email part of the time, but not all of it.
But he has Twitter the whole time.
You can't really be held accountable for that, I understand. Anything else administrative?
Class of 83, like she can give her ruling or whatever. She just like won't be able to respond right away, he's saying. Also, he won't be actually gone for that long. I mean, what was it, like a couple weeks, a few weeks? And the judge can take, I think it was up to, what was it, 60 days to make a ruling? It was 60? A couple months.
Creative?
No, thank you, Judge.
All right, so how this will work now at this point is I have relinquished all security to court security and any underlying law enforcement.
Oh, Salty for the, Salty, thank you for that. 70 people need to, I don't know, 70 people, but Salty is reminding you guys to hit the like button if you could.
That are present. They will be escorting people out in the manner that they deem to be appropriate. If there's competing orders against harassment or orders of protection, then we can take those things into consideration. And I just ask that if the people in the gallery are able, any conversations, take them out into the hall. That would be great for our other people who are here for other matters.
Oh, hold on.
All right.
We'll let Judge Amato walk off the bench first. All right. So as we know, tomorrow is 1 week since this hearing. And we don't know how long it's going to be until we get a ruling. I'm hoping it's within another week or two. But yeah. So basically what I gathered from that, watching it back, I don't believe this person is crazy at all. I think that she is very calculated, manipulative. I think that she is lying. I think that she's diabolical. All the above. Just like, I don't think she's insane. And it's really easy for people to get confused about that because when you see behavior that you're like, why would anyone do that? I can't wrap my head around that. I can't fathom that. It's easy to be like, that's insane. But that's not literally insane. That's not something you should be able to get away with by saying, oh, I have mental health issues. No, that was a decision you made over and over and over again, and you got to live with the consequences, finally. So let's hope it works out the way they want it to. Hang on, guys. Give me 1 second to look at hold on. Y'all are going to do me a favor right now, and it's going to be awesome. Hang on. Going to edit something real quick. So, our friend Tug is doing a stream right now. And since I just finished, we're going to redirect to him. Because he's awesome. He was really, really nice, like commenting, I think, in the stream while I was working the stream in the courtroom. And then he's been doing his analysis since then. So we're going to go ahead and give him some love when I end this. If you guys could all do me a favor, it's going to redirect you automatically. Amy Lynn, we'll do Quiplash tomorrow night. We're going to do just Quiplash tomorrow night. So we'll get lots of games in. Tonight, I'm really tired. I've had a lot going on. I just can't do it. So, okay, guys, I'm going to end the stream. When you get to Tugs, when I end this, you'll go to Tugs automatically. Please type in bacon emojis and say that you're in a Lethal Lauren raid. So, bye, guys. I will talk to you soon, okay? Game night Mondays, yeah? All right, thanks, guys.